Hi, I'm Dawn Watson. It is November 19th, and this is Right Now on the East End. This is our very first ever Zoom show, so very, very exciting. We are heading into the week of Thanksgiving, and as many people already know, COVID cases are on the rise across the country, spiking specifically in the Midwest and a little bit farther west and north in New York. We're holding tight here on the East End, but I think people are getting a little pandemic fatigue. So just stay strong, stay vigilant. We want to make sure that we keep everything open that we can. We keep as many people healthy as we can. So that's my little words of wisdom for the week. I'm very excited this week that we have a special guest with us on, again, first Zoom call. And it is Melissa Berman, who is the co-founder of Easton Cares. Hi, Melissa.
Hi. So great to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here with me. And I love your decor.
Thank you.
Very nice, very Zoom worthy.
In the corners.
Isn't it very funny? Like you get to see this whole, insight into people's lives now by looking. Yeah, I've done a ton of Zoom meetings, but I've never done this. So this is kind of neat. Exciting. Yeah. So Melissa, tell me a little bit, we're going to jump right in. Tell me a little bit about Easton Cares and what you do and what you specifically do.
Well, Easton Cares was founded in the wake of Hurricane Sandy. Myself and some other members of the community, we saw a lot of goodwill coming together really quickly, and we came together and just said, let's just get everybody on the same page. And it literally became a Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And we put the Facebook page up, and within 8 minutes, we had 2,000 members. So we were like, oh my gosh, we have something here. And then the next thing you know, we had a bus going with volunteers, and we kind of became, a central hub to facilitate goodwill. Really, that's how we shorthand it. And, it just became such a nice thing to have in the community that it's continued over the years, and we keep it going on an ongoing basis to sort of connect people who want to help with ways to help, and organizations need help, we can promote it. And then when either a disaster or a big need comes up, we ramp up and do some projects. So that's what we're doing now with COVID, what we've been doing since March with COVID. Okay. And me, I was one of the people who founded it with some other amazing people in the community. And so now I run the organization and keep up with it. But we're a volunteer collaborative. So really, people can come to Easton Cares, and if they have an idea, we can just facilitate people running with the idea. And it's been amazing to see that happen in different circumstances. We did a project where we went to Greece to help the refugees, and we had some people who were EMTs. So then it turned into a medical project, and then they just oversaw that. So it's not, it's not a hierarchical organization. It's really a collaborative for the community, and we're always open to ideas and definitely to people who want to step up and lead.
You're very nimble, as is your sweet little rescue dog Go-Go that you are sheltering right now.
This is Go-Go, and she's available. I'm sorry. But she's a little foster dog that I just took on Saturday from Gimme Shelter Rescue, and we're going to get her a good home. But right now she's going to be all over my lap. So
hopefully this will be able to help at least entertain and
super cute, and she's very good and quiet. Now you're going to bark, right? Okay. Anyway.
So Melissa, how did you? Do you have a nonprofit background? How did you decide to do this? And I mean, this has become a huge group effort. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And how are you able to scale up now from starting a Facebook group to now having so many people doing so many different things?
Kind of seat of the pants a lot. I have a background. I've been involved in humanitarian work, pretty much my whole adult life, as a volunteer or as leading efforts. I worked in advertising for a long time, so I did a lot of campaign work, but I like to be more hands-on. So I would just get involved with different things. But I think production background helps a lot, because really we're running a production all the time. So and I'm always dragging my production friends in because they always get stuff done. So yeah, so that's how I do it. And now we have a structure in terms of, just handing things off. For instance, for COVID, first thing we did was see what everybody else is doing, because my feeling is that the world has a lot of 501c3s. And what happens is when we have a crisis, everybody's running, but everyone's kind of running in different directions. So the first thing we always try to do is see who's doing what, and like, where are the gaps and where can we plug in and, and fill in that way. And then oftentimes, or all the time, we'll partner with other organizations. We've worked with Paddlers for Humanity. We did a lot of work with them. We've worked with Third Wave Volunteers, which is an amazing group out of Miami that does disaster relief. We've worked with Team Rubicon. We work with Ola a lot out here, just the retreat. But for this COVID, we partnered with Clamshell Foundation, who are just the most wonderful people, and decided to just focus on food for our first thing for fundraising. And then we decided for our volunteers to put together a buddy program, because people were going to be home and not able to go shopping for themselves. We have, seniors and just people who are medically vulnerable who really need to be home, and also to form these connections. So we have, if somebody volunteers, we connect them with a buddy, and that's their person. And so they will continue a relationship with them and check in on them and do their shopping or errands. And it's really worked very, very well. I mean, you hear these great stories about people making friendships, and that's just kind of a lovely silver lining that's happened, as well as, it gives people, it's just as much of a gift to be of service as the person you're helping. And that's what we are really proud of, or what I'm really proud of, is when I speak to volunteers and they have these friendships, or they feel like this is such a helpless situation, but you feel like you can do something and you're doing something positive. And so that's been a really good thing. And the town, they had a senior center where people would come daily, to socialize and to have meals. And now, because of COVID, they're obviously unable to do that. So they are working really hard. We work closely with the town, and they've been delivering meals to people, but they don't have the staff or the wherewithal to do the shopping. So they will direct people in need to us, and we've been able to make those connections and give them buddies. So that's been.
Are you always in need of buddies? I mean, what's the ratio of people who are in need of, whether they're food insecure or whether they are older and may not be able to get out as much? Like, what's the ratio of need to people who are volunteering?
So far, we've been able to answer every need. So that's wonderful. And, oftentimes we have a very active social media presence on our Facebook page and on Instagram. So when we need more volunteers, the local press has also been really supportive. So if we need to get the word out, so far we've had enough buddies, and we also have other volunteer opportunities. So if anybody wants to volunteer, we work with the Bridgehampton Child Care Center as well, and help them with their food pantry, packing bags. So we have volunteers doing that. Then we also had this amazing thing. This is an example of how Easton Cares works. So one of our volunteers was in Goldberg's Bagels, and she was like, what do they do with all these? They must have extra bagels. What do they do? And so she had a chat with the manager, and the manager said, we have extra bagels. And she said, well, people are hungry. People are in need of food now. And so we put together this bagel relay thing where we have volunteers who go on certain times to different Goldbergs and collect the bagels and bring them to either the food pantry or to Bridgehampton Child Care Center. And then, and they're the day of bagels. So people get fresh bagels and it doesn't go to waste. But that was just a volunteer coming up with the idea. And then we just facilitated plugging in the volunteers to make it happen. So those are the kind of things that I love, because it's just so creative and it brings the community together. We have a business and we have volunteers, and then we have an organization. It's
right.
Really.
And you're also helping to reduce waste. So not only are you helping people, but you're also helping the planet by not having us just throw stuff away, which I hate. When I see shows like the renovation shows and stuff, and people are always throwing the plates on the ground, I'm like, there are people who need things. There are people who need things. Don't throw it away.
Yeah, especially out here. There's nice things out here.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, I agree. So, yeah, so that's another thing that we've been doing, and we've been raising money with Clamshell. We're focusing on food at first, but now we've expanded that effort to just have a general fund where we can help different organizations as they're needed. Like, for instance, we just did a big project with the Retreat, who are just an incredible, amazing organization. And unfortunately, COVID has really upped the need for their services. Domestic violence has been on the rise. And if you can imagine being in that circumstance and like literally locked in the house and you have nowhere to go, women have been, they have to go in their car to make the phone call to the hotline. And thank God we have the Retreat here to help those women and children. So we went and did a renovation of the shelter to make the space feel more like a home. And, they just needed stuff over the years. And
I know I've donated toys and kids' clothes and stuff to them over the years. And I know they're always used.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are. And what we're doing, so the project so now first we had our Fund for Food, and we're going to continue that. And I should give a shout out to, and that's with Clamshell, to Christopher Barry, who I think you had on your show, who is a volunteer. He's the most amazing guy who came out here at the onset of the pandemic to his second home, but has now stayed out here and has a background in finance. So he was the perfect person to run this fundraiser and just did an incredible job. We raised over $150,000 for our local food pantries, which we're so proud of, and had great partners like Citarella was an incredible partner, collected at their registers for us. And we're going to continue keeping that going because the food pantries have a steady and rising demand of 3 times the normal. Yeah. And they are working so hard, and they're getting beautiful food to people. And, they have safety concerns too. I mean, you're handling food, you have volunteers that have to keep it out, and they are just rising to the challenge so beautifully. So we want to keep supporting them, as long as we have to, and making sure that people don't have to worry about going hungry. That's like number one.
I was going to say that I would imagine that is, because you need food, you need shelter, you need clothing, so in addition to food, what are the top things that you're looking at? Like, what are the top needs on the East End, and how can we do what we can to help?
Well, we're going into our second wave, and I think that we all need to be, we just need to face it. We know what we went through with the first wave, and it doesn't seem like we're going to get away until this, fortunately, till the spring. And so we just have to ramp up. In the first wave, the food was a very big need. This volunteer, assistance of going shopping for people and helping people with errands is very much needed. So we will continue that. We want to continue the good work of organizations like the Retreat and like OLA, who and ARF has been doing amazing stuff. We have our volunteers helping at the food pantries distribute the pet food that they're collecting. So all those things. We're looking at other things that might come up, like, with kids being home with online learning, how can we, do we need to help there? Are there things that
laptops or iPads or whatever?
Exactly. Or even, is there some kind of online support that we can offer? We believe in supporting the arts. We're supporting Kate Muth and her beautiful work with political, because that's very healing, and it's a very important part of life. So that's another thing. We're looking at putting together a resource of mental health services that are available, so people can come to us to know where to go to get those services. And if there's a gap, we could fill in. We're talking to the town about transportation issues that people are having getting to their regular medical appointments, because some of those services have been cut. So, people are still having regular medical needs. Right. And in the midst of this, we're always looking to support our first responders, and that includes all the people who are working at grocery stores, but specifically people in Southampton Hospital and all our doctors. We did a PPE project, making sure we work with Third Wave to get them masks. We hope we don't have a shortage of those again.
Right.
So, so those are the things that we're looking at now. And as things arise, we'll try to, do a left turn and come up with a project.
That's all. I mean, you've mentioned like so many things where there are individual things, like it's someone's individual full-time job to manage something like that. And you've got like, I don't know, 20,
Yeah, there's a lot of things, but we have a great team. I mean, I work very closely with Corey Callbacker of Clamshell, and, we have our calls, and we talk probably 3 times a day and just figure out. And then, we've had great leadership from our volunteers that we have a project coming up. Heather Dunn is one of our volunteers, and she stepped up, and she's going to do a project we're calling Holiday Love. And we're going to match people with families at the retreat to do their, to get their holiday gifts. Nice. And we're going to do meals for them as well. We're going to do their Christmas dinner and their Christmas breakfast. And we'll work with volunteers that we have in the catering community so that everything.
Yeah, I know is part of Easton Cares, Cynthia Battaglia.
Yes, Cynthia is a rock star. Yes, and she doesn't know, but now she can see on TV that there's a Christmas dinner coming. that was on my call list for today. But yeah, she's fantastic, and we're really lucky to have. I mean, we live in such a unique place. There's not just a wealthy place, but there's such a wealth of goodwill and kindness, and like really kindness. I mean, when this thing started, my phone was blowing up, every day I'd wake up, terrified like everybody else, but also with 700 texts of how can I help? What can I do? I want to help. I have this. And I mean, that's amazing. It's really, it really keeps you going.
Well, if someone wants to help, do you have categories on, I mean, I did the page obviously, but if you say, let's say I have a bunch of dog food, or if I have a bunch of kids clothes, or I have some money, or I have time, or whatever, how do I get in touch with you and find out what I can do and how I can share my resources with whoever you deem it to go to?
Well, for money, we're calling our project the Community Love Project, and you can donate at clamshellfoundation.org. Everything's 100% tax deductible, 501c3. If you have a specific place you want it to go, if you want it to go for food, you can say, I want this to go for food. If you want to put it in our general fund, then we're going to distribute it where it's most needed. And we're working with Montauk, East Hampton Springs, and Sag Harbor Pantries. Those are, as well as Bridgehampton Child Care Center. And so if you have money, we will take it and we will put it to good use, we promise. So that's where you can do that. If you want to volunteer, or if you need help, we have an email, eastoncares1@gmail.com. And what we do is you email us and say, hey, I'd like to volunteer. If I want to be a buddy, then you can say that. But we have an intake form. So we'll get to know you and what your skills are. People who are bilingual, it's fantastic. Ola has often a lot of need, and even, there's sometimes the food pantry. We have some of our volunteers who go and translate on distribution days. So that's super helpful. People who can organize, we have volunteers who've helped. Here's a giant thing that I should have mentioned. We did a campaign called Show You Care, which is a mask wearing campaign. And I just want to say, please wear your mask. It makes a difference. You will literally be saving lives. And it's not a big deal to wear a mask. It's, people are not having to hide in bomb shelters, at other times of need that countries come to. So just wear a mask. It is really the simplest thing to do and makes the biggest difference. And, and think about the doctors and nurses and all the people that are working in our medical community. We don't want them to crash. We don't want them to get sick. We don't want them working under any more stress than they already are. And if you simply wear a mask, you're helping everybody. So we have done a campaign called Show You Care, where we did portraits. John Madeir, who's an amazing photographer, volunteered his time, and some graphic designers. Lois Pianowski donated her time, and the Star has been running all these ads for us they've been amazing. They've been running full page ads for our food. They've been running our Show You Care campaign. And we made big signs. We have posters. If anybody has a business and wants to hang the posters, we will deliver them to you. So that's another thing. And when you email us, we will give you an intake form, and we'll ask you a bunch of questions, and we'll try to find the best fit for you. I mean, part of what we do is hopefully creating a positive experience for a volunteer. You know, we want to, if you have a special skill, let's use it. You know, let's make the most of your skill and make the experience the most rewarding for you too.
That email is eastendcares and then the number 1.org, right?
At gmail.com.
No, I'm sorry, at gmail.com. So eastendcares, number 1 at gmail.com. The phone number, if you need help,
If you
I'm going to share the number.
Is 646-456-8845. You can call or text, and Carolyn Carson, who's our volunteer coordinator, is lovely, and she'll speak to you, and we'll, if we can't facilitate what your need is, we like I said, we work very closely with the town and the social workers there, so we'll do our very best to hook you up and help you with what you need, and I think that's another thing that we work really hard on doing. So I encourage any organization that has a service to let us know so that we can help get the word out, because we use our social media to do that. And yeah.
That's it. Also, I want to end, because I know we've got, a time limit here, because I could talk all day about this. I love it's so important to be able to help other people. And you're right. You do feel we benefit from helping others, right? That said, I know a lot of people, it's kind of like everyone goes to church on Easter or Christmas or Thanksgiving. People tend to donate like in the very beginning of something bad happening, and then around the holiday time, and then they forget. January, February comes around. But you know what? It's still freezing cold outside, and people are still hungry, and there's still so much need. So
Totally.
How do you suggest that we continue this wonderful wave of helpfulness and compassion and togetherness?
I think just to be mindful of it, and just to know that if you have an extra $5, it goes, like, we originally started our food fundraiser with calling it 5 for Food, because everyone's struggling, people are struggling. But if you have $5, it goes a long way. It really adds up a lot. So if you have the money and you can afford it, that would be great. Also, if you want to help us fundraise, maybe you have time to go out and get people who do have more money, then that's super duper helpful. If you have a business like Citarella, where, they simply had people round up at the cash register, we raised $57,000 that way in 2 months.
That's amazing.
And that's just like rounding up your checkout. And, so we would love any, restaurant or any business that, has people checking out. If they want to collect, we will make sure that those donations are well used, and there is need. Look, we're in a this is a really tough time. And I know people are struggling, and I think another thing that we can provide is being part of a volunteer group. It gives you a sense of community and connection. And I think that we're all, on a human level, we're all missing connection.
Right, especially since we are all socially distanced. So it's nice to say, okay, so I can't maybe spend Thanksgiving with my extended family, but I can help someone who has no one.
Yeah.
Or needs something more than I do.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who have no one. And also you can connect with a group of volunteers. We might be on Zoom calls or we might be on the phone, but I'll tell you, we had so much fun putting this whole project together. And so you'll get to meet some really great people and connect that way around something that's positive. The news is scary, and a lot of other things are scary, and our lives are at maximum stress. And so volunteering, I think, is a good medicine. It's good for the soul.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Gogo, you want to say bye-bye?
Bye, Gogo. Best of luck to you always. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye. Stay safe.
Thanks. Thank you. You too. Okay. That's it for this week. I'm Dawn Watson, and this is Right Now on the East End. Tune in next week to see another new guest, and tune in all during the week to see Melissa and find out how you can help. Take care.